Hello there.
Hey everybody,
Oh, I can
how's
see that.
the end of your
Sorry.
year? I hope it was good.
Yeah, I can see here. V Prevails is already saying hello. Good to see you.
What up? What up?
Hope you're having a great day. Yeah, and I guess we can say Happy New Year, right? Is
Yeah.
it is it bad luck? I don't know about this stuff.
No, happy New Year. It's 2020 for the third year in a row.
Oh dear. Yes, V Prevails says Happy New Year to you both, and same to you. Thank you. Yeah. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. As you can see on our stream description, things we've got a big one today, and I'm pretty excited about it. It's gonna be some stumbling around. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna start from, however, by Taylor telling us a little bit, if you don't mind, by telling us about what's new at Distribute Aid.
Yeah, so it's been a really exciting few months and new quarter. So doing quarterly reports and stuff here in the U.S. Where I'm working at Fort Pickett, and Distribute Aid is kind of managing the donations on base. We have the numbers in November and December combined. We distributed more than 750,000 items to about 7,500 guests that were at Fort Pickett during that period. So that's a couple $1 million in aid that we've been able to provide to our guests to meet all sorts of needs like educational and activity needs, hygiene, clothing, baby items, cleaning items, so on and so forth. So really cool to see how much support they're getting, and how well the operation's going. In Europe in December, we also had thanks so much, Pete Pedrels. But that's not even the big one. Our European team has been doing great, even though I've been over here in the US, and that was a bit of a sudden transition. They delivered $3.4 million worth of aid in December.
Wow.
A lot of that just landing. Now, it's interesting because in tech, we talk about metrics a lot, right? So that's kind of the retail value. We had all these masks that we've been talking about and shipped 1.4 million of those to Lebanon. There are also in-kind donations of blankets and community organized shipment that we put together. So that's kind of the sourcing side, retail value. What would these be worth in a country that they were donated in, like the UK or Germany or Norway? The end impact value to beneficiaries is only $875,000, and that accounts for the GDP differences across countries. So you don't want to say
Wow.
just because we sourced aid in a more wealthy country that that's the value providing to beneficiaries in a country like Lebanon. We're actually go look at the local prices or do a cost comparison, kind of, what's the relative GDP, things like that. So choosing the right metric, I think, in tech or in logistics or in humanitarian aid work is so important. And staying away from some of those vanity stats and just keeping yourself honest is definitely the way to go. Fortunately, we also met over 700,000 needs with these
Wow.
European shipments. So we kind of look at what are the needs met, what is the kind of economic value we're creating for end beneficiaries, and then also to frame things in, two other in-kind donors and two corporations, kind of what scale we're going to use numbers in those conversations that map more to their world, and that's where we'd use that retail value of aid. Um, yeah, sorry, a little bit of a tangent there, but I think it's important to explain our thinking behind the
No.
different numbers, and challenge everyone on the stream, to apply that sort of thinking to their own work. Yeah.
The best tangent, as V Prevail says. No, this is wonderful to hear, Taylor. Thank you so much for, always being so kind as to update us here live on what you're up to. Folks, as always, if you're interested in contributing, be it financially or by a code to Distribute Aid, I'm going to comment here. Whoops, that's the wrong link. Give me one sec, folks. Yeah. We will be having, please feel free to come over to our open collective page, where you can find out all sorts of stuff in order to find out how you can contribute to Distributate's ongoing ongoing projects. And speaking of which, sorry, Taylor, I didn't cut you off, did I?
No, all good. I'm really excited to get into the code side of the stream. So
Yeah.
speaking of which,
Yeah. So on that note, my very subtle segue there, let's take a look at what we've been up to. And what we've got here is a Gitpod, which is online editor. It's been a while since we've streamed together, so just want to make sure that I've got everything correctly laid out. But yeah, this is our Gitpod, where we've got the code base running and everything up to date. And what you see here is one a branch that I've been working on to make the final touches to the Distributate website, which just gonna do a quick review here with Taylor, and I guess just make our preparations to launch this and talk about next steps as well. Does that sound accurate?
yeah, that sounds great. And I have to give you and Maxime and Rebea a big shout out for putting the time in to get this live, during the winter holidays. It's so exciting. I know we've been talking about this on the stream and working on it together for a while, and
Yeah,
get it out the door, version 1.0, and then look at how can we iterate in more frequent sort of updates, rather than having to, do the initial launch and where we put everything in up front, right?
totally. Yeah, so let's tell you what. Shall I load up, because on Gitpod everything's running on the browser, sorry, on the server, in the cloud, sorry. So here's our sort of, I would say, 1.0 version of the website. What do we got here? The last additions I made are these two sections. Rebel already started these, and all I did was add some photos and finish them off. So I want to check at a visual level. Taylor, what do you think? Are we good to go?
Yeah, it looks great to me.
Fantastic. Are the pictures that I chose fine?
No, love them. I think it really captures, the humanity of what we're doing, right?
Yes.
And showing these folks in their different environments, and what that means. Like the two men hugging, it's like, well, close contact in these environments. Like we're dealing with Omicron here at Fort Pickett, and unfortunately, we've been able to contain any outbreaks, and we have regular testing and mask usage and stuff. And so delivering things, I know we work on the tech side or the supply chain side, but the results of our work lead to things like people being able to safely congregate or safely continue to attend sporting events or classes in these sorts of camp environments, because we got masks there, right? Or because we got the materials needed to put on those activities. So
Wonderful.
I love seeing the, more direct impact photos, and then realizing that this is what our work is all about.
Totally. Excellent. Thank you. Then in that case, I believe this should be up to date. So I'm going to head over to GitHub. I hope I'm logged in. Folks on the chat can't tell, but I'm working from a new computer now, so things are still getting used to them. So that would be the distribute aid. I believe this is the right. Yes. And I need to make my size bigger. Sorry, folks. It's been a while. I feel like I'm blowing the dust off of my work. V Prevails noticed. Yes, I moved to Mac OS. This is now my streaming sort of base. Sorry. Sorry.
Good eyes to catch that, V Prevails.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say that's what you want in a vacation, though. Like you properly got some time off, and it's the first stream, so time to dust off the cobwebs and get back to it. But hopefully you're well rested and refreshed for it.
Totally. In fact, this is, and I mean, short tangent there. It's so important to take that time off and sort of let things reset. This is the longest break I've had in a very long time, and I'll admit I'm very glad I took it. So, yeah, add missing image. So this is the branch that I made. I forgot to put the issue number in. Again, it's been a while. So let's do that here right away. Add missing image, comma, Fort Pickett section to website. finalize. So closes, and the number of the issue, I'm just going to open that up here, is the Fort Pickett and in-kind donations section, which Rabea started. Thank you again, Rabea. I'm just finishing it off here. So this is done. And I will start creating that pull request, which involves, first of all, creating a Code C recording. So let's do that. Feel free to interrupt me at any point, please, Taylor.
Yeah, no, I'm following along. It all seems so far so good. So we
Excellent.
did the refresh there.
Yep.
Nice. This might be a good time, I know that the Cozy team has gotten a bit of a break here over the holidays, but one of my favorite things on these streams is like, what's the latest feature that's been pushed out? So while we're looking at recordings, is there anything you want to highlight here, Ramon?
Not much new on recordings at the moment. Most of our
Okay.
focus is on maps, though we are looking into ways to bring some extra new life into recordings. I can't say much just yet, but I'm excited to share that too. V Prevails, right. I love this. You can only help others if you take time for yourself too. 100%. Couldn't agree more.
Totally.
Couldn't agree more. Thank you for sharing that.
So we should get maps so we can explore the new stuff in maps when we make the pull request, and that'll be automatically generated. Nice.
Absolutely. That there's a lot there. So DA landing, let's call this RC, release candidate.
Yep.
So we'll make this public. And let's go over to our pull request. Yes, the issue number is 119. So 119. Code C recording. Am I missing anything?
I'm
gonna give Rabea a shout out here.
Yeah. No, I think it's good. Maybe just some labels, or if it's part of a milestone. I'm not sure if we're using milestones for PRs. I know we're using them for issues.
Yeah. So let's label this is a enhancement.
Yep.
Is it a major update if we're launching the website?
Well, and that's an interesting thing. So, like, is this PR a major update, right? Or is it like the collection of PRs, kind of that milestone level thing?
Yeah.
I'm not sure how to divide that.
Yeah. Maybe for now, best we leave it as is. So it's an enhancement. It goes towards our milestone, which you can see is mostly done, and I believe will be done with this. And with that, I say let's create this pull request. Now, as we do that, we're going to need a review, and we're going to be able to take a look at that Code C review map, which I'm excited about. We've really been working on enhancing those features. I think last time we streamed together, there was the Visual VS Code plugin that we launched.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was legend. There's more coming about that. I can't, again, I have to be secretive. How unfun.
No, that's okay. Well, maybe that's next week's stream. You can help me set up VS Code for the first time from scratch, because I keep hearing good things about it, and I'm still stuck on Sublime Text and iTerm and stuff like that. So,
well, you know what? Actually, before I started doing these streams, I didn't use VS Code myself.
Really?
I was a long time Vim holdout. But once I saw that, like when you open VS Code for the first time and it says like, "Hey, you want to use Vim keys on this?" I was like, okay, and that made my integration a lot smoother.
Yeah, there you
go. Cool. So what have we got here? We're doing So here's our reviewed map. We can see it here at a glance with an image, what we've got. So we've integrated I've changed the how we help section and added 2 images. Now I can we can review these in an interactive map.
Right, and this is interesting. So I'm wondering the reasoning, and this became very obvious looking at the maps, or was not necessarily obvious before. So shout out to Codesy Maps, but we
Thank you.
have pages, right?
Yep.
Like our index page, that's a static page. So that's kind of the Gatsby mechanism to generate those pages, and then we have components. So for our homepage, breaking that down into different homepage components help keeps those React modules nice and tightly scoped, right? Kind of, single purpose per component. But then the images are in a separate images directory, and they kind of map in those subdirectories. Like here's the homepage component, here are the homepage images. And so I'm just wondering, kind of architecturally behind that, I don't have any strong thoughts of like which way is better, but
Yeah.
there's this way. And then I could also see putting the images that the homepage component uses directly in that component folder, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's like pros and cons both ways, right? So I'm just
Yeah.
wondering what led to this layout rather than the other sort of layout.
That's a good question, and I'll admit, I kind of just went with the. This is something that's quite common in quite commonly a problem of mine when I'm developing software, where if I see a convention in
Mhm.
a code base, I'll stick with it.
Yep.
For example, if they do it this way, and one thing that helps, especially as new folks come into an open source project, is to make proposals. Say, say for example, why don't we move those images into the same folder because they're part
Mhm.
of that component, right?
Yep.
Um, I'll admit, uh, this from a from a old school model view controller type of development process that I used to make, this makes sense to me because I've got my components here and all of my assets, all of my images in
Mhm.
another place.
Oh, totally. I used to do that. You'd have your scripts folder and your images folder and your, whatever, and then that would kind of, that's the it's almost like using that file system as a database, right? Here are all the images, right? And then, you can go point to those images from the different views, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Um,
Exactly. And but it's interesting because lately I've started seeing, for example, like one thing that I was quite interested to see was that, for example, um, tests, right? I'm
mhm.
used to tests there being two folders in my code base, app and tests,
Yep.
right? Or SRC and tests. But lately I've started finding some projects where tests live in this at the same level as the code.
Hmm.
Like there's a subfolder called, like, I think it's called underscore tests underscore something like this. I've
Hmm.
seen it in Jest and TypeScript projects, and I thought, wow, that's interesting. As we prevail says here, structure.
Yep. Yeah.
um, so what do we think? Shall we have a look here at what changed? We can double click to do
Yep.
our review.
Cool.
Let's
So we're loading in the images, and like you said, yeah, there's already that convention. There's already those images in that folder, right?
ooh, I don't know
Um,
why this is jittering. Sorry, carry on.
um, and then we added some more. And then it looks like there's a new data structure here that
Yes.
we've created to list out the projects. And so that'll link the um, images with some JSX code here um, in the data structure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. And then it takes that, and I assume below it's gonna apply that to a component or something, or iterate through that.
Yes,
So the only change here is that you've added a new entry for our Fort Pickett USA
exactly.
project. Yeah.
But also in the in-kind donations image, in-kind donations
Mm,
section, I've also replaced a placeholder image, which was a blank image, with the
right.
in-kind donations image.
That makes sense. So I'm just curious to see the actual code that creates these, because I haven't caught up with all the great work that Rebea was doing. Can we just
Sure.
expand that below here in the the review, or
Sorry. What I was. Can't I open that in GitHub? Huh. Well, that's a feature request that I'm gonna make to be able to like click on a link and sort of see the full context, right?
right? Yeah, see the file or something like that.
I think that'd be handy. But what we can do is hop back into Gitpod and do that here. So is it Control? No, it is Command P. See, I'm still learning Mac OS again. Um, yeah, what was I doing?
I
So
love
we want
that.
to.
As techies, like, oh, I'm learning this other operating system I used to use and know again. Like,
Yeah,
um,
absolutely. So we're gonna go to the what was it called? How we help
how we
section.
help section.
How we help section. So let's scroll down here. So yeah, these are the contents, and there you can see in-kind donations,
Hmm.
Fort Pickett, and the other two, which are refugee aid and COVID-19 response. So, and here's how they are used.
Okay,
Right?
cool.
There's our cards. Yeah.
Right. So we make a card which gets that's what we're looping over. So we're looping over that data and plugging it into this card component.
Correct.
Nice.
Awesome. So I don't believe I'm able to review that because pull request authors can't approve their own work. But if it
Okay.
looks good to you, Taylor, I say we can merge it in.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Give me 1 second. Let me
Totally.
pull up GitHub on my own.
Do you want to share your screen for that?
Sure.
Awesome. Very excited. I'm also very excited to launch this live on stream. I don't think I've ever launched something on stream.
Right. It kind of feels like there's a rocket about to go. We got to do a countdown or something.
Yeah. Yeah. V Prevail says no pressure.
Cool. So we got the pull request out here. Nice. And we reviewed it in Code 2 Maps, but I just want to have fun with actually completing the review
Please.
here. Yeah. So approved. Looks good to me. Good deal. So what happens? So now I'm stuck because I hit review and I approved it. I guess I could have clicked into like each file and checked them off, right? But I didn't do that.
Yeah, that's
And then-
fine.
And so now do I have to go back to the PR? Is that
Yeah. So if you click back. Fun fact about GitHub. We're not allowed to have the links automatically open a new tab.
right? Yeah.
So the to clarify, we have a GitHub. I don't know what it's called. App bot. I think it's an app or an integration, and essentially we're not allowed to like the API doesn't allow us to make those links openable in a new tab.
Yeah. So this is interesting. So I clicked there and I did the review and it posted my comment, but it didn't approve the review. So I'm wondering, maybe I do need to click through and actually say that I've reviewed.
Oh no, I think you just needed to refresh.
Oh, okay. It just wasn't refreshed. That makes sense. Yeah. Now. Sweet. Glad to. Yeah. Okay. And I approved the changes here. Oh, no. There we go.
Give it another refresh.
Yeah. Eventual consistency, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So now I can go in and squash and merge. Sweet.
Excellent. So, if I may, if you don't mind, Taylor, or actually, do you mind going up to the scrolling up to the beginning of the issue where it shows our milestone? go a little bit lower.
Right
So there's
there.
our milestone. Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
fun. Yeah.
And I think we can safely say we are ready to launch.
There we go. Someone start the countdown.
Can we?
Cool.
So I've never done this before on GitHub. Can we close the like V Prevails says OMG closing milestones, but is it closed now? I've never done it. What if you click on edit milestone? I'm just curious.
I think that's like the due date. Oh, there we go. Closed milestone.
Well, what do you know?
Closed. Nice. So we'll have to
Nice.
create a new milestone then for the
Yes.
next steps. Oh, cool. This is cute. I didn't see the sponsor link there before. Nice. It's really fun. I think as a change Marcus made, he added a
Oh yeah.
there's something in there. It's a YML file. Oh, there we go. So in.github, funding.yml. Any open source project wants to create a funding.yml file. And so you can, I guess GitHub integrates with or links to a number of approved, funding platforms. And so you just have to have the project's name on those platforms. And then it comes up with the little sponsor button. Sweet.
Nice. V Prevail says, congratulations, y'all. And I don't want to, just in case it wasn't clear, V Prevails also helped us set up tests for this code base.
Oh,
so I want
awesome.
to say
Cheers.
big thank you to you as well.
Absolutely.
V Prevails, super, super helpful. I guess we're ready to launch, Taylor. This is where my knowledge ends.
Okay.
I would love to know what happens. What happens next? How does one launch a website like this?
Yeah. So would it make sense for me to keep driving, or do you want me to navigate while you drive using Netlify?
Can I drive the Netlify?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a great way to learn. Oh,
I mean, I've never. Oh no! You stopped your camera. Taylor.
I'm clicking the wrong things.
All good. All good.
Yeah. No, I think I added you to Netlify, and so let me navigate because I kind of know the platform, and then you're actually the one going through the motions, so you'll get that experience, right?
What an honor! Thank you. I'm going to netlify.com.
No.
It's gonna make the window a little. The size a bit bigger. Folks in the chat, if that size is not okay, please let me know. V Prevail says, "How does the interwebs exactly? How does the interwebs work?"
No one's sure. We work with it every day, but we're still not sure how it works.
So I'm gonna log in through GitHub. I believe my GitHub should be logged in, so we should be good to go in that regard.
Nice.
So zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. So here we are. This is.
I think you need to go to our team first. Yeah.
The Distribute Aid team, which I'm a member of.
Nice.
So. Oh, that's interesting. I can see here the different sites, and I can see that distributeaid.org is currently deployed from GitLab.
Yeah, so we were hosting a number of projects on GitLab back in the day. I think we shifted most of our active development to GitHub, which kind of naturally happens since Marcus and Maxime and Ramon and other folks are more used to GitHub.
Yeah. I've actually worked more with GitLab than GitHub myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I think it's whoever wants to start the project can choose the platform. We try to keep things fairly flexible. Yeah, cool. So it's going to be the DA landing 2 site, right? And I think we're going to need to mess with some settings there. But hopefully we don't have to do anything that involves like messing with DNS too much.
So where would I do that? Sorry.
I think if you click the DA landing 2 site right there. Yeah, what you're over. Yeah. Cool.
Domain settings.
And so let's start by just looking at the staging link that they provide right there.
This one here.
Yeah, and let's make sure our changes are showing up and that our build process works.
Makes sense. I can see here deploys from GitLab last published 6:01 p.m. And for those watching in another time zone, that's where I currently am.
Okay.
So that was launched 2 minutes ago.
Okay.
Let's still open it up and take a look at it. Oh, this is so exciting.
Yep. And that's what I love. Like being an open source project, we can make all of our code Cs public. We can have our staging, site on Netlify public.
Yep.
I'm not concerned about someone seeing our work in progress. If anything, we should have a little like, hey, join, contribute to this project here on staging, right? Um, cool. This looks great.
Awesome. Now you might be wondering, Ramon, Taylor, why don't I see the Cozy button here? And that's because we've integrated Cozy into it so that it only is usable during development, because that's when you want to do it, when you're developing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Yeah,
there's
so
that.
this is good. So I like that when projects make it easy. Like I didn't need to set up any special build configuration or anything. And CodeC just doesn't include itself on a production environment to make sure that it's not taking away from that production performance, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. So let's. Sorry. Sorry. Forgot to check that the changes are there, which they are indeed.
Nice.
Very good. Now, let's. Sorry, you're driving. You're navigating.
All good. So we probably want to look at the site settings and the domain settings, maybe
Okay.
starting with the domain settings here.
Cool.
Because that's really what we're trying to do is we're trying to go to distributeaid.org and get this to show up, right?
Great.
So scrolling down for custom domains, we
Yeah.
already have distributeaid.org set up for the other projects. So I'm wondering to the right there with options, what that allows us to do on the right hand side. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's just editing the Netlify thing. So we probably want to add a custom domain here.
Okay. And here I'll go with distributeaid.org.
Yep. Nice.
Distributeaid.org is already registered. If you registered this domain through a different registrar, and select add domain to begin delegating to it in Netlify.
Yep. So we registered it through Google Domains,
Right.
but it's already pointing to a Netlify project. So I think we should be fine to click add it as a domain here.
So add domain. Okay.
Yep.
Another site is already using this domain, so that's the old one.
Gotcha. So we're going to want to, I guess we could do two things, right? We could set up the other site to pull from the new repo, or we could remove the domain from the other site and add it to the current one, which is I'd probably go with the latter there.
Okay, that sounds cleaner.
Yeah. So let's go back to the distribute aid settings. We'll go to our original landing site project and just remove the domain from there.
Got it. So I'm going to click over to domain settings. And, sorry. Just want to keep an eye on the chat as well, so I'm not ignoring y'all. So, yes, Netlify DNS. Aha.
Yep.
Aha. So we will. Do I want to edit the I want to remove this domain.
Remove it. Yeah. I think we want to remove it from this Netlify site and then add it to the next Netlify site, if that makes sense.
Got it. Remove domain. Oh, it's gone.
Nice. Okay.
Does that mean that we just killed it?
Quite possibly. Let's go check out what that did.
Good call. So go on to distributeaid.org.
Okay. So we're down. The downtime clock is ticking well.
V prevails confirmed. Yep, it gone.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm currently responsible for a downtime. That's a notch for my belt.
Yeah, we're not as strict. There's no 5 nines here in the humanitarian world, like,
got it.
It's like,
so we can try here again. Is that right? I've come back to
Yeah.
DA landing 2. I'm going to verify again. Distribute aid is already registered, so we'll add domain.
Woohoo!
Great.
Okay. Awesome.
we're not doing this, are we? SSL.
Um,
What is SSL/TLS? I don't know if you know.
so um, that's I think it's involved with like HTTPS, right? It's secure
Right.
socket layer, and I forget exactly what TLS stands for, but those are basically the underlying technologies that allow encrypted communication between your browser and the site server, so that people can't hijack it or insert things in flight, right?
Gotcha. I believe, if I remember, if memory serves me, that that TLS stands for Transport Layer Security.
Yep. Yep. There we
No
go.
idea what it works. No, sorry, no idea what it means, but that's what it
Yep.
is. I know the acronym. Hey, I think we've got a V Prevail says, sorry, spoiler alert, but it works.
Nice. Wow,
Let's
that's awesome.
let's give it a try. Well,
Yes. And we're live. That's like
we,
the easiest I think we're still at that 5 nines of downtime, right? Like
yeah.
yeah.
Taylor, I'm not an expert, but I'm curious if you know, like, don't these things usually take like a day?
So they can, right? And that really comes down to messing with DNS settings. If you're changing your domain name server, changing your domain name server settings, right? That needs to propagate through the global internet, right, to
Right.
all the name servers. And so that can take anywhere from, 2 to 24 hours, right?
Gotcha.
In this case, we didn't change those settings at all. It was already set up. So we own the domain through Google Domains, right? We already
Mm-hmm.
pointed it to Netlify's name servers and set up the different DNS settings there, I believe. Um, and uh, and so that means that Netlify just needs to take that name server and say, hey, instead of loading, from this server the site's deployed on, load from this other
Yeah.
server the new site's deployed on, right? But that's something that can
Gotcha.
happen internal at Netlify. That's not something that the rest of the world needs to get caught up on.
That's super handy.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, congratulations, Taylor.
Thank you.
We did it. And
We're
I just
launched.
we're launched. We have launched. I'm gonna be sound super hip and cool when I say this. I'm gonna clip this and put it up on all of our social medias because we're good to go.
Yeah.
We have launched the. So I want to say once again, thank you to everybody who helped. Mexi, V Prevails, Rabea, and of course, I have some special mentions because you see, before launching this website, we ran this by the distributed team, and they gave us a lot of feedback. Because you might be wondering, okay, well, you've launched the website now. Is the stream over? To that, I say, absolutely not. I hope you've got time, Taylor.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, great. Um, Absolutely not, because now comes the interesting part. The other interesting part, which is a post launch. So you see, we put this up on and showed it to our team, and they came back with so much feedback. And it's in my opinion, uh, none of this was a blocker,
Mhm.
but definitely it was extensive feedback.
You're saying that, I feel like it's like, I don't know, we're in the mines of Moria and suddenly we start to hear the drums beat or something like that, right? No, that's good. That's what we want, right? And that's why we do staging environments, and then why we have different milestones for launching. So I think that at this point, I know that the admin team and the logistics team, could provide feedback earlier on in the dev process, but it's so much easier for them, once it's live, right? Once they can see something, actually play around with it. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Like now is when they're really able to see what they understand as a website and not just plans or mock-ups or things like that. Yeah, exactly. V prevails. it's a tech project, so there's always going to be those next steps, those bugs to fix, whatever it is. And I think that's really good feedback to have. We can set up the next milestone now and start making progress. And I think we can actually do a lot more like smaller, more frequent releases. We might have a milestone we're aiming towards, but we could set it up where Netlify automatically pulls from, say, a production branch, which means we only need to merge changes into that production branch for them to go live. All right.
Exactly. So we might want to have some kind of added. Hmm. What just out of curiosity, what do you think about having a related branch for develop? How do you want to do this? Do we want to merge on purpose into Saga to not on purpose, deliberately into Saga to get those releases out at our own choosing, or as we merge and pull requests, the websites gets updated?
I think what I like to do is have Saga as the trunk, right? So that's kind of
Yeah,
the where everything gets merged into. But sometimes we want to group a number of different features or improvements to be released at the same time. So that's why I like having a separate production branch, and that's the intentional, like, we're ready to release something, which might be one to one. It might be like pull request hits Saga, gets merged into production, gets released, or it might be, let's work towards a milestone and release a batch of these at the same time, right?
yeah,
And the milestones don't necessarily have to be, milestone one, milestone two, milestone three. We could use milestones as like groupings of related issues to fix and then just release all those at once, if that makes sense.
totally.
Um, yeah.
In that case, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be reading out um, issues from the Slack. We'll turn those into issues and start planning accordingly. Does that sound good to you?
That sounds great. Just before we dive into that, I do want to take a look at some of the site settings on Netlify for like 2 minutes
Absolutely.
here and just make
Please.
sure that it's set up. So I want to take a look at what the build and deploy, like what branch, when we
Oh yeah.
push to that branch, is going to get updated here. Um,
So branches Saga.
Right. So that right now, that's our production branch.
Yep.
So we might want to edit that and change that. We could keep it as Saga, but
Yeah.
then if we're merging in something, that maybe has multiple PRs related to it, right? Each one of those will get deployed on its own. So should we edit this and set up the production dance as prod or something like that?
Let's do it. Do we have that branch or will I need to create it?
Not 100% sure.
Oh, do you know what? Let me see if I need to delete the branch actually. Or did we delete the branch that I made automatically? We deleted it. Disregard what I said, please. Bunch of renovates. We have team. And I think
Yeah,
that's it.
I'm not seeing a prod branch, so we might want to push that up real quick.
Sure. I believe. Do you mind if I try doing this on Git GitHub?
Sure.
I've never done it. And I believe you can. I'm gonna give it a try, like for two
Okay.
seconds. And if I don't find it, I'm just gonna. So I'm not very familiar. New pull request. Yours, stale, all branches. All branches?
Yeah, I don't see like an add a
Mm,
new branch though.
no, I've done it before. I swear I did it once, but I cannot remember how to do it. So I think it makes the most sense. Oh, there, find or create.
Nice.
What's that? Occam's razor, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so create branch prod from Saga. So we click on that. So now we've got a branch called prod. Will
Cool.
that be our main branch?
So I think Saga would be like the main branch, right? Prod would be a downstream branch of that,
Okay,
which we use, just to segment out what we're releasing into production. We should probably go to settings here in GitHub and add some protection to prod so that it doesn't get accidentally deleted or things like that.
gotcha. So that would be branches, branch protection rules. So we will add a rule. Production. So let's see what we got. Require
Probably
pull.
just prod, right, for the branch pattern name. I think that's what we called it.
Oh, yeah, I see. I thought it was like a name. My bad
Oh, all good.
for the rule. Okay, so I guess we want to check this one. Require a pull request before merging, or
Um,
no, actually not, because we're going to want to merge manually, right?
yeah, or you could use the GitHub interface to do a PR from Saga, but we don't necessarily want to require that, right? We could just merge it on the command line and push it up and have that be good.
Yeah.
Um,
Require status checks to pass. Require conversation resolution before merging. Signed commits. Linear history. Include administrator.
we're
Enforce all
probably just restricting who can push to the branch, right?
Now, I guess that would be you. That would be Taylor.
Yeah,
It's,
maybe JT Fairbank is my.
there it is.
Yep.
Maxime. Myself. Else. Marcus.
Hmm.
Think that sounds good for now?
I think that's good for now. And I
Yeah.
know Rebe has been contributing a lot. So if
Yep.
she continues that, it'd be really easy to add her as well.
Totally.
Um, yep.
Allow users with push access to delete matching branches. No.
Yep.
Permit force pushes for all users with push access. I don't see why.
Yep.
Check it. So let's create that. Aha. Let me take care of this real quick. Thank goodness for password managers.
Nice. What are you using? 1Pass?
I'm using 1Password. Yeah.
Man, I think LastPass got hacked. They said that everyone's like private keys or personal like passphrases were exposed.
Yeah. Was it LastPass? I mixed them up. It was either LastPass or KeyPass. One of the two.
It was LastPass, so it
Yeah.
wasn't KeyPass. Yeah.
Yeah. It was scary. It was
Yeah.
scary. Poof. Right. So we've got that branch protection rule now. So if I go back to Netlify, I want
Mhm.
to change this, right?
Yep.
This will be only the production branch. So save that.
Yep.
Wait. This says production branch prod branch deploys Saga.
Huh. Okay.
That's not quite
Oh,
what I
let me
want.
add. Okay, so this is interesting, right? So by default, you could have all branches deploy to like a preview space at Netlify, which we don't necessarily want, right?
Right.
You know, in this case, it's gone. Here's the production branch, but then additional branches, including Saga, right? So that would deploy both Saga as a preview and prod as the production branch, which is still quite helpful to have Saga. Like if we want other people to review it or something like that before merging into production, that would be where that can happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that's what this is saying.
Right. So do I, oh, should I add Saga in then?
I think it already is because it was already being deployed,
I see.
right? So I think we're okay here.
Okay.
Yep.
Deploy previews we leave in. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Now the question is, now that that's done, let's I stopped right before the environment variables. Very good. um, it's not. Oh, it is. Oh, it's. I see. I see. Where the
Yeah,
renovate. This is the automatic dependency. Um, I guess we should still be okay. We haven't built a new deployment because we haven't. There's nothing new from prod.
exactly. Yeah, I
Got it.
think I think we're good.
Cool. Well, let's make some. Let's make some issues then.
Nice.
So what I propose we do is I'll read out some feedback. We will I'll read out some feedback. We'll confirm the issue
Hmm.
and then make an issue of it. Does that sound
Yep,
good?
that sounds great.
So our first issue is that there are a couple bugs in mobile view.
Okay.
This is something that happens quite often to me because I'll develop on a desktop and then I sometimes neglect to check how it looks on mobile. So yeah, the first part is that this carousel seems to be kind of stuck here. You see what I mean?
Yep.
So how about we confirm that one first?
Yeah, that sounds good. That seems like a responsive mobile design issue where the images need to be moved on top or below the text rather than side by side with them. And then they can expand to fill the screen and still kind of rotate through.
Exactly. Improve main page carousel responsiveness. Sound good?
Yep.
And we've got a reusable code C recording because nothing has changed. So we can reuse those as well.
Yep.
So let's take a screenshot of this. Screenshot showing mobile view for main page carousel. In a code C recording.
Yeah, and that's our starting point recording. Right?
Exactly.
Nice.
Exactly. Code C recording. I wonder. There's some magic that some apps do. Did you see what I did, Taylor?
Yeah, you just selected the text and pasted it, and it did
Yeah.
the down formatting around that. That's fun.
I learned this. This works in Notion too, by the way.
Oh, nice one.
It's amazing. I didn't know it worked on GitHub. We learned this live.
Cool.
Right. So we've got our code C recording. I wonder if I'm missing anything.
I feel pretty good. Maybe just some direction onto like what does improving the responsiveness mean, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, right now the page title text and the image show up side by side. It'd be good to have the image show up above or below and expand to fill the width of the screen and just show like one of those responsive images at once, but still rotate through them.
Would be good to have them. Did you say below the title?
Yeah, above or below. I think we can give the implementer some discretion on what they feel is
freedom.
visually the best. Yeah.
Above or below the title?
Mm-hmm.
Above or below the title.
Maybe one image should be shown at a time, but it should still rotate through them.
Cool.
Yeah.
So labels will be bug, enhancement, good first issue. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Help wanted. Yeah, I'd say that's good.
Cool.
Put in a milestone. We'll add a new milestone. Call it post V1.
Yeah, I like that. So kind of wrapping up any issues or small enhancements after the launch. And then we can start planning like a V2 milestone with larger additions or changes there. Might take a little bit longer to work on.
Awesome. Let's do that. Submit new issue.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm happy with this. Cool. Let's move on to the next one. There's a few.
Okay.
But I love it because these are volunteers who take the time to check up on these things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that bugged out. Let's refresh. That's why.
Gitpod might be down, but we can take a look at the live site now.
Exactly. We don't need Gitpod right now. Just to confirm that issue persists. It should, but just to confirm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So next one is under UK staging hubs. So should be on the main page still. UK staging hubs. Where does that say?
So that might be slightly above.
Oh,
it's on the main page. or it's in our routes, right? There might be talking about the route page. You go to
Ah,
routes or something like that. I think there's a section on the routes pages about the staging hubs.
staging hubs. Ah, yes, I see.
Yeah.
Let's try that out. And yes, this is the screenshot that I was shown.
Yep.
So let's show this again. And this time I'm going to be like nothing to critique against the feedback we got, but it would be helpful to specify which page this was under.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe that's where like getting a link or something like that would be quite helpful.
Yeah. And in fact, we're going to be able to copy paste quite a bit of this. So fix responsiveness, mobile responsiveness for UK routing. I think they share a template.
Yeah.
Routing pages.
Yep.
Yep. I'm just gonna be specific here because just in case, and, and my German speaker is showing. There we go. So let's add the image. This would be screenshots showing the layout issue in the routing pages. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to grab some of this because we're going to be reusing it. And again, you can just paste on top of that and it'll make a link, which is amazing. Right now, the sections are side by side in mobile. Would be good to have them show me either above or below the image.
Yeah, it'd be
each
good
other
to stack them. Yeah, something. Yep.
An image shown at a time, and this is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Shown. We don't need that at all.
Yep.
And we need a link. Example of the issue here. And then I'll just grab the link. And there we go. Labels will be similar.
Mm-hmm.
We got bug, enhancement, good first issue. This is probably just going to be a Flexbox thing.
Yeah, that's my guess. Now, the question here, because we've added bug and enhancement, should we distinguish between the two of those? Like, this is an enhancement, but we're not adding something new, so maybe we should just leave it as bug on these issues.
You're right. You're totally right. Thanks for catching that. And this is not a project, but a milestone.
Yes.
Cool.
Cool.
In fact, let me go back here and fix this while I'm at it. Excellent. What do we have next? Our kind volunteers Marcus did a Lighthouse report. Shall we try that live as well?
Yeah, that would be cool.
In case, folks, if you're not familiar with them, Lighthouse is a set of tools provided by Google to check, amongst other things, how fast your website is, how SEO friendly or search engine optimization friendly it is, how accessibility friendly it is.
Yep.
Let's generate a report from that. So you can run that directly from your browser if you've got Chrome, or from the internet. They've got some online portals for that. I believe it's something like web.dev/measure, something like that. So let's see how this goes. So right now what you're seeing is Lighthouse running automatically on our website. And I never know what it's doing.
Nope, just kind of let it do its thing. Okay, so we're pretty good there, except for performance. Now what's going on with that?
So we can see here, you can see the scores here, performance, accessibility. I hope the size is okay. vPrevail says there's also CLI tools for Lighthouse, which is very cool.
Yeah. Oh, and it looks like there's an issue there. So it redirected. We didn't have the slash, and then it's saying it got redirected with the slash at the end. So that might be why we're seeing some of these performance things, since the browser did a redirect there. Do we want to try it again on this page right here?
Sure. So now it's on the slash, right?
Yeah.
So I should run it again. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I think so. Just in case.
Yeah, good call. All right, let's see.
Okay. So seeing similar scores.
Right. Did this improve? I don't think very much, right?
No, not that much. I got up by a few points, but
So what we see here is, for example, for each of these, we see a score from 0 to 100. And of course, the higher the better. And ah, it looks like that's a Gatsby thing, the redirecting to the forward
yeah.
slash.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. So
Cool. But it should give us some suggestions, like if we scroll down under performance in the Lighthouse bit.
yeah. So let's have a look here what's going on. Let me see if I can make this bigger. This is bugging me. I'm afraid I'm not very familiar with doing this on a Mac, so I'm going to stumble a little bit. Hey,
There we go.
much better. Okay.
So it looks like the images on these pages might be fairly large and not super optimized, like those big background images, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
Okay. Shall we make an issue for that? What do you
Possibly. I
think?
kind of want to click in. I think if we select some of these suggestions, yeah, so it looks like they're not all terrible, but yeah, I think given the size of some of these issues, you can keep them large since they are background images, but maybe use the JPEG format and decrease the quality a little bit to get them down into like the hundreds of kilobytes instead of one there, which is over a megabyte, right? What
Yeah.
Google's saying is using next gen image formats. So, what are those formats which modern browsers support?
So how can I? Oh, you mean like WebP?
Yeah, stuff like that. I think if you scroll up a little bit, it might have like links to more documentation or something.
So can I click on them? Sorry, I didn't quite understand.
Oh, if you just scroll up just a little bit.
Oh, there
Yeah,
we go.
there we
My
go.
bad.
So
Image formats like WebP and AVIF often provide better compression than PNG or JPEG, which
hmm,
means faster downloads and less data consumption. Okay.
no. And I'm going to say this is probably a good like 2.0 milestone. I feel
Yeah.
like we need to develop a little bit of a process around this. Like, how can we take a PNG, SVG, or JPEG and convert it to these formats? Like, when is it appropriate to do so? And then, do we need backups? I could see with older browsers, maybe like that don't support WebP. How when was this introduced in the browser world, and do we need to still have a fallback JPEG or something like that? Right. So I feel like there's a little bit more oomph to tackling a performance issue like this, just so that
Yeah.
it's not whack-a-mole where we add more images and then have the same issue. It kind of becomes a standard part of our dev process.
Yeah. I would say, in the interest of time, let's leave this for now. Let's make an issue for
Yeah.
eventually for the 2.0. Let's
Yep.
move on to the more, let's say, urgent issues, if I may.
Yeah, that sounds good. And so maybe the issue here is just like someone needs to run a Lighthouse score and plan out like further
Yeah.
issues.
And maybe that's something we can do next stream or something, if that
Yeah,
sounds good
that could
to
be
you.
fun. Yeah, we could dive
Yeah.
into some of this.
Great. Awesome. Let's do that then. In the meantime,
I'm
oh,
glad though. Good to see like the accessibility and the other scores like being fairly high up there.
it's always something we can improve, but definitely a good thing. So V Prevails has a suggestion here. Are we using Gatsby image? Because that might help with performance, maybe.
Yeah,
So we can see here gatsbyjs.com/plugin/Gatsby plugin image.
100%. I believe we are
Yeah.
in certain parts, right? But
Right.
we are not on these particular pages because we copied a lot of that code over the interest from time from the old site. And so with these routes pages, that's much more like bare bones HTML and CSS from the old site, that has not necessarily been updated to our new Gatsby, React, Netlify stack.
Yeah.
So really good point there, Prevails. Maybe we don't have to manually solve these problems, but using a plugin like Gatsby Image, that might be kind of the standard approach.
Yeah. I could have sworn we were using it in some parts, but maybe we missed it in others.
Yeah, I think it's just on these particular routes pages. So if we do like a Lighthouse test on the main page, right, that
Yeah,
might
let's
be
do
worth
that.
running real quick and just seeing.
Let's do that. So I'm now back on the main page and see how that goes. Because it could totally, as V Prevail says, that would be a big win.
Yeah. That really highlights as devs, like we can do lots of like work for not that much gain, right? And then we can solve problems categorically across the board, and it's kind of a work smart instead of hard sort of mindset. Cool. Unfortunately, our scores on the main page are not as good. What's going on there?
Let's have a look. Yeah, how do I? Could be the same thing, yeah. I think what we might be doing with Gatsby image plugin is, putting up the images, but not really. I'm not an expert, but I've seen some of these frameworks offer something like converting them on the fly. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So maybe that's something we can enable in the Gatsby image plugin.
yeah. Like dive in a bit, or maybe you need to set the right setting where it ends up serving modern formats for images. Like here, it's still seeing JPEGs, so we
Yeah.
need to direct that we are applying Gatsby image, which I think we might be given the kind of generated image names here. But then also we're converting it to WebP or something else when possible.
Cool. Yeah, no, I would say we should definitely look into that.
Yeah. Should we look at some of the other sections real quick, just for the audience while we're here? Like
Sure.
the
Accessibility.
accessibility, stuff like that.
And these are tips that we can use. These are tips that they give us in order to improve the general accessibility of our website for folks using, say, screen readers and stuff like that.
Yep.
So our HTML element does not have a lang attribute. So
Right. So
these
it'd be
are,
like lang equals en-us
yeah,
or something.
looks like some images don't have alt text. That's something to fix.
Yep.
Some of our,
Yeah,
I
and then
guess
maybe for those we might need to use area tags to highlight them as labels or something like that. Like
mm-hmm,
the actual images for the projects we should do with the alt text, but those should be marked as labels.
totally. And this is great because you see Lighthouse automatically highlights these for you,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
super handy. Shall we add an issue for this?
Yeah, that seems like a fairly straightforward one.
I think so too. Let's do that right away. Add missing alt texts for the main page.
Yep.
You don't need a screenshot, in my opinion.
Yeah, and those will be the images in that how we help section, right? That component that we just merged the additional content into.
Yeah. And running Lighthouse on the page and seeing which images are in alt text.
Yep.
Let's see recording. Spell. There we go.
Yep.
And
I think we should just combine this with those icons as well. Like we either need an alt text or we need the appropriate, area attributes for icons.
text and or aria labels.
Yeah.
Looks good.
Um,
Labels is
yep.
first. Bug. Good first issue. Help wanted.
Hmm.
And I think that's a definite candidate for our milestone.
Yeah.
Cool. So, what else have we got? Um, we've got. Shall we continue from here, or do we want to
Yeah.
go back
Well,
to
I
the
think
other
if we
feed?
just, I don't necessarily need to, we don't have to add all the issues here, but just to show folks on the stream, there's also the
Yeah.
SEO and some of these other sections. So I think if you just click the 93
Oh
there
yeah,
at
let's
the
do it.
top, it'll like scroll us down.
Best practices.
Hmm. Okay,
Let's
so
see.
that's a pretty minor, like we have some console logs going to the
Yeah.
console or something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Browser errors were logged to the console. And that's interesting. We can see here what they were as well, which is handy.
Yeah. Yep.
Great. And that last one, SEO, search engine optimization.
Mm,
See what we got. So the document does not have a meta description. This is what gets shown on a search engine below the title
kind of, but
most
they
of the
don't
time.
use that anyways, really, the description. The browser or the search engines like automatically parse and pull out content from the page now.
Yeah.
So I'm interested though, the links do not have descriptive text, right? And you also see how because that last one, image elements do not have alt attributes. So accessibility is also an SEO consideration, right? Making the site more accessible means you'll have better SEO, which is really cool to see. It's not just like this own separate kind of microcosm of concern or improvement, right? It directly relates to other things, and we should care about all of them as developers.
Totally.
Yeah, cool.
Excellent. Great. And then we've got no, progressive web
Yeah,
apps.
yeah,
Um, this is, if I understood correctly, this is a certain way of coding the website so that if your phone is offline or if your device is offline, it can still run in the background. Is that
yeah,
right?
exactly. Like you kind of bookmark the site, as an app on your phone's home screen or something, and if you're
Yeah.
disconnected, you can load it offline. Yeah, which definitely makes sense for some stuff, but probably not something we need for the landing site right now. Like the only thing I could think of is if there's a lot of like if we produce a guide or other documentation and we want to make sure that stuff gets cached and becomes accessible offline. If there's like a little knowledge
Yeah.
library or something, but we're not doing that right now on this particular site.
Good call. Good call. Um, yeah. So that covers the Lighthouse report. Do we want to see? We've got about 10 minutes left. Do we want to add one or two more? Oh, B Prevails asks, do all of the images come from Contentful? If so, are there fields there to add alt text? I could be wrong, but I believe none of the images are coming from Contentful right now because we decided to change a little bit and sort of spearhead development so that we could release it soon. Is that correct?
Yeah. I think some of them might be coming from Contentful. Like I think we got that map image to show up in Contentful when we are coding it up. But the
Yeah.
ones in the gallery or other places, we wanted to get this out the door and then add more that's integrated to Contentful over time, so that like our admin team could go in and change the images in the carousel from there. Um, and definitely there are ways to add alt text to images from Contentful, which I believe we're using for the images that are coming from Contentful.
Great.
Good question though, for sure.
Yeah. So let's sorry, I kind of got lost there. Did we want to take a look at one or two more points of feedback?
Yeah, I think let's do one more issue,
Yeah.
and then call it there. Have a 5 minutes to kind of wrap up.
Sounds good. Let's see. Yes. Did we want, well, this one's not really an issue that we can solve here today. Yes. So in in the routes pages recommend that we, as we make this mobile, this frontline group section, it becomes a little, they lose the spacing. They could use some spacing between them.
Right. So probably slightly smaller logos there with some more spacing between them.
Yeah, I think I don't know if this is actually, let's find out. We're in
I
this
think
right
that
now.
is a Flexbox setup or a grid setup or something.
Yeah, that's what I think too. I'm just curious. It is a Flexbox.
Yep.
So, yeah, you can add some gaps there.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's grab a screenshot of that, and we can get one more issue added here.
Perfect. And folks, if you're watching and you're curious about doing those, please feel free to volunteer in the issue, and I'll assign you to them, and we'll of course guide you along the way.
Yeah. No, it's good. We saw during Hacktoberfest how easy it
Yep.
was. We made some changes to the project, and now you can just go to GitHub, download it, run it locally, and let us know what issue you want to work on. And we appreciate all the help we can get.
Totally. So, we want to
This would be like space
add
out group
spacing.
logos. Yeah, add spacing.
Space out group logos in shipment route pages.
Yep.
So we'll add a screenshot.
Mm-hmm.
Space between group. What are they called?
Group logos. Yeah.
Link group. Yeah. Group logos in mobile view.
Yep.
Ideally, these should have at least 20% space between them. Does that sound good? Not too much?
Well, 20% of what, right? 20% of the
Oh yeah.
window width is high. 20% of the logo width, always seems much more reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Recording 20% of the space between them.
Yep, that sounds good.
Bug. No, not an enhancement. Good first issue. Help wanted.
Nice.
Part of our milestone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got a lot done.
Yeah, no, it's we got the site launched, which is awesome. We got some issues set up, and we'll be back next Thursday. So if anyone wants to spawn and tackle one of these, happy to give you a shout out for helping out.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. It feels good. It feels good to launch projects.
It does, especially live.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, well, let's wrap up the stream for today. I'll continue adding issues as I go for the next week or so, and we'll be back next week.
Yeah. See you all next Thursday. Take care until then.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good one. Bye now.